No, I didn't.
Do what, honey?
You want to come in here, Grandpa? 'Cause I'm going to shut the door just that way we trap the noise.
Come on in, John. Sit down. Oh, I moved your microphone.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay. We're not using it. You can sit over there. I'm going to sit right next to you. Okay, Grandma.
Yes.
Tell me your full name and spell it, please.
All right. Mary Allison Feero. That is MaryAllison
Allison Feero. Okay. And how old are you right now?
I am 80 years old.
80 years old. Okay. So don't move. I'm going to move right over here.
Okay.
Take these off because I feel. Okay. To start off, Grandma, I want you to tell me about growing up.
Growing up, okay. Well, I'll start at the beginning because that's the only way I know how to do it. All right, I was born in Frederick, Oklahoma. My mother and father lived in Frederick, and I was born in Frederick, and that was in 1927. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1927, that's right. And at that time, I had two older sisters. One was Edna Louise Gillum, and the other one was Eleanor Bernice Seifert. Well, their name was Jones at that time. And for some reason or other, Mother and Daddy took us and moved to Mangum. There, Mother and Daddy started a laundry, home laundry. Daddy did the washing, and Mom did the ironing, and then she had a helper that helped her that did the ironing. So I started out in grade school in Mangum. Went through grade school. My older sister, Edna, she married when I was 3. Bernice, she moved, for some reason, I can't remember. Oh, I remember now. It was in the summer. What year did the war start? 42? 1942, 42? Okay, anyway. So we moved. Dad decided he wanted to go sell what was called the Farmer Stockman at that time, and that was a magazine that the farmers took, you know. And he knew this man and that he had got acquainted with it. So he packed me and Mother and my at that time I had a little brother, Jackie Ray Jones. He was born in 1936, I think it was. And so we got in the car and took off, and he was going to sell this Farmer Stockman. And he, of course, Mother and I and Jack traveled with her because she wasn't about to leave us behind. And Dad would go up to the farmer's house, and he'd jabber with the farmer, you know, and okay, now, all right, you give me 2 batteries, and I'll let you have this Farmer Stockman. You know, he traded, so to speak, swapped. And I don't remember a whole lot about that, but once in a while we'd stop somewhere, and the wife of the farmer, you know, would invite us for dinner, stay for dinner. That was a treat, especially if she had chicken. And so anyway, so Dad did that, and then that kind of fell off a little bit, so and this man, I think his name was Mr. Cooksey, he had a family also, but not any of our age. So they decided they were going to sell watermelons, buy watermelons, and bring them to Oklahoma City to what is known as the Farmers Market. I don't think it's there anymore, but anyway, and sell watermelons. And he was going to make money selling watermelons. So here we packed up and moved to Oklahoma City. And I guess that must have been in about 1942. And we moved into an apartment. This was a house at 821 West Main Street. The house is there no longer. It's a parking lot now. And let's see, there was a Mrs. I didn't think of it. Lester, Mrs. Lester. She lived in the front apartment. We lived in the back apartment, and then upstairs, and then around the corner was another apartment, and then upstairs there was 1, 2, 3 apartments. So that failed. That project failed, and Daddy did odd jobs, so to speak, for a time. And Mother, right in back of where we lived, was the New State Laundry. It was a laundry. And Mother went to work over there at the New State Laundry. And Daddy, he had different jobs, but he had this one job working for, I think it was called the Fleshman Yeast Company, I think it was. I think that's what it was. And he had to go around and deliver different things to cafes and places like that. And, well, my daddy was something else. And so he quit that job, and he went to work for the laundry, delivering. And so he did that. I don't know what year it was when he quit that, but he quit that. And Mother worked at the New State. And I met John in the summer of 1944. I was working at a little carnival, and Mother, huh?
I want you to talk about that just yet.
Okay. Okay.
Tell me about whenever you were a little girl in school.
Little girl, I don't remember a whole lot about
You
that.
remember school?
Because I didn't like school. I hated school.
Talk to me about school. Talk to me about school.
Well, all right, I hated school, but in the 3rd grade I had a school teacher. Her name was Mrs. Nina Davis. And as mean as that woman was, I loved that woman. But at that time, it wasn't against the rules to correct children. Excuse me, I got something in my mouth. And so if we did something that we weren't supposed to, she'd have us hold our hands out like that, and then she'd hit our hands with a ruler. Spank our hands with a ruler. And then there were times when she'd take her fist and she'd hit us in the back with her fist. But I loved that old lady, and she was old at that time. I don't have any idea how old she was, but I loved her. I thought a lot of her.
What did she teach? Was she just
I don't remember. All I know is she was just a teacher.
Okay.
And this house that we lived in Mangum, there were next door to it was a woman. Her name was Mrs. Elliott, and her son worked for the newspaper. And I would go over and visit I visited all the older people in the neighborhood. I visited them because I loved old people. And I don't know what kept me from getting in trouble. And then on the other side of us was, we lived in this house. We lived in this house for a while, and then Mother decided that we wanted to buy this house, so we moved into this house. And then the house over here was where Mrs. House lived. And I would go visit with Mrs. House. And at that time, she took the National Geographic magazine. So that was fascinating for me to go there and look through those fashion magazines. And she had an older daughter. And this older daughter, I would give my eye teeth to see her have what she had, but it was a paper doll. And it was about this tall, and it was fuzzy. And she had dresses that you could put on this doll. Well, she kept it in her drawer, and I knew where she kept it. So I'd go visit Mrs. House, and I'd go get that paper doll out, and I'd play with it. And so, anyway, and then she had and Charles is now a lawyer, Charles House. He is a lawyer, I think, over in Hera or someplace over there. I think he's a lawyer over there. But he had a bicycle, and I didn't have a bicycle. So I'd go over and ask him if I could ride his bicycle. So he'd let me ride his bicycle. And I rode the bicycle. I used to like to climb trees. Man, I could climb a tree like a monkey. Can you picture me swinging from the limbs of the tree? And let me see, what else? I was going to tell you something. Oh, yeah, Mrs. House. She was the sweetest thing. And sometimes when they were gone, we never locked our doors in Mangum. You could go leave your doors unlocked, in Mangum. And if she was gone, I'd just go there and go through the door and go in, sit down, play or whatever. If she had some cookies laying on the table, I'd have myself a cookie. Like I said, I'm surprised I didn't get into trouble,
And that never was any big deal?
No. Always, I didn't mess anything up. I left everything like it was and everything. But you want to know about school again.
Well,
But I just,
I mean, is there any real specific things about school that...
No, Did
you ever skip school?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Tell me about that.
I didn't skip school.
Uh-huh.
I would stay home.
Uh-huh.
I just tell Mother I don't want to go to school, so I wouldn't go to school.
What would you do?
Play.
Did you ever, you told me before about a trolley. Did you ever like...
That was in Oklahoma City.
Oh,
yeah, that was in Oklahoma City, yes. There was, but we didn't call it a trolley. What was it called? Streetcar. Streetcar. And it ran right by our house on Main Street. So if I got up some morning and Mother'd go to work and Jackie would go to school, and if I decided I didn't want to go to school that day, I'd just get on that streetcar and I'd just ride from one end till it, and then back again. I'd just ride the streetcar, and that was a lot of fun, riding the streetcar. And at that time we had a lot of movie theaters here in Oklahoma City, and I liked the movies, as you well know by looking at my collection. I loved movies, and I liked to play hopscotch. I played hopscotch when I was a little girl. Wasn't very good at it, but I liked to play it. And jump rope. And I can remember one time I got a place on my back here. I don't know how old I was. I was old enough to know better. But it was raining. And so I wanted to go outside and play in the rain. Well, my dad very seldom corrected me because Mother was the disciplinary in the house. But I decided to go outside and play in the rain. And Daddy had told me I couldn't. So he went out. We had a big old locust tree growing in our front yard. And the locust tree has thorns on them. So he picked off one of those switches off of that tree and hit me on my back with it. And one of those thorns stuck in my back. Of course, I cried. And Mother saw that blood running down my back, and she told him, she says, if you ever touch that kid again, she says, I'll kill you. She said, don't you ever touch her. Never got another spanking from him. I never got a spanking from my mother. I'll tell you, one time I sassed her. I was grown now. I was grown. And she was standing on the porch on Main Street, talking to someone there on the step. And I kept trying to butt in. And she turned around, boy, whoa, she just slapped me a good one. But I was interrupting her, and you didn't do that when you were a child, when you were a kid. You don't, no matter how old you were, you did not interrupt with a conversation with your parent, But Dad, he wasn't the disciplinary. Mother was the disciplinary. And so...
I mean, tell me about the relationship with you and your father.
Dad and I guess, I know he loved me because Mother said that when I was little that he would sing to me all the time. He'd take me up on his lap and sing to me. And this was before Jack was born, and I would get up in the morning and Daddy would say, well, here comes Queen of Sheba. And I say, I not know Queen of Sriveth. And Mother said he'd sing to me, hold me on his lap, and I don't remember it. All I remember is my daddy yelling and hollering, and I was scared to death of him. And I was always afraid he was going to hurt Mother some way. I don't guess he would, but I was afraid he would. But it was all right. I've got a couple of mementos that he gave him on my birthday, and
What are they?
Well, for one thing, I've got a necklace that was popular back in the 60s. He gave me. And I've still got a birthday card that he gave me. In fact, John and I was going through things out there and trying to find my Mickey Mouse telephone, and I can't find it anywhere. And come across a card that he had given me when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager. So, but it was it wasn't bad. It just, Mother and I was close. Mother and I was close.
Tell me about that.
Well, I thought that she was the most perfect human in the world up until she come to live with me. And I don't guess I should say that. But I did. I worshiped the ground she walked on, I tell you what. And you know what? I've thought about this some. I think this was in God's plan for her to come live with us. Because I thought so much of her that if she had passed away at that particular time, I think it would hurt so bad that I wouldn't have, that I probably would really broke down about it. But by living with us for 2 years that she did, or a year and a half or whatever it was, I just got acquainted with her and got to know her and realized, she's not that perfect that I thought she was,
It took away that false
Yes,
reality.
yes. It didn't take away my love for her because I still loved her and everything. But anyway,
Any memories that stick out of you and your mom when you were younger, or just any time?
Well,
I know there's tons of them. I mean, there's something.
no, it's just, I meant nothing particular. It just, like I said, we were just close, and
What's the first memory of you and your mom that comes to mind?
oh my goodness.
Just think for a second.
Dear.
What's the first story, or is something that?
Well, I can tell you something. Now this has been told to me. And my mother told me. We had a cat. His name was Tippy. And one day, me and the cat disappeared. And Mother said, the cat come out from underneath the table just yelling and I come out and I said, "Oh, Mama, look at all the feathers that come off of Tippy." And I had cut his hair off.
Shaved Tippy.
I had given it a haircut. And all the feathers that come off.
Did Grandma Jones say what she did? Or?
I don't remember. All I remember, she just told me that story. And I can remember, I've got a doll bed out in John's shop up in the attic, up in his place up there. And I got that when I was I must have been I got it the Christmas before I turned 7. And my brother was born in 1936. And I had this doll bed. And he used to sleep in this doll bed. I played with him, put him in the doll bed. But Mother said one day she missed him. She couldn't find him. And I had taken him, of course, Mangle's small town, but still, it was what. And I was walking down the street holding this baby like this. I was taking him to show my brother off. Little bitty kid holding his baby.
How old was Jack?
I don't know. I don't really know, but I know he was small. But I was taking him for a walk, gonna go show him off.
Did Grandma Jones say what happened after
No,
that?
I don't. No, and then I can tell you one about Bernice and I.
Yeah, hang on one second.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to know definitely about your sisters. And
Okay.
Just some things that stick out to you that
With Edna, there's really not. We always called her sister. There wasn't really much to tell about her because she got married when she was 15 and I was 3. And
that's kind of unconventional.
15
years
yeah.
old,
Well,
Not in those days.
No,
the reason for that was Glenn, which was her husband. They were so crazy about each other at that time that both families thought that they better let them go ahead and get married because of what they might do, and that definitely would have been a no-no back in those days, you know. And so I wasn't really too close to Edna, sister, not until after I got grown and got married, and then we kind of. But Bernice and I became very close.
That duo.
Yeah, that was after she moved to Arkansas and after Cypher died, and I started taking trips over there because she liked music, and of course I'm crazy about music. So I'd go visit her, and we'd go visit the shops and things like that. But I was going to tell you. Oh, I was going to tell you about when I was little, and I guess Mother and Dad was living in Frederick, and but Bernice, when I was born, she was jealous of me because she had been the baby for 9 years, and here come along this baby taking her place. And so Mother said one day she put me in a buggy. I don't know where she got the buggy, and just pushed me down a hill. And that buggy going 90 miles an hour down that hill, and me in it.
How old were you? Did Grandma?
I was just a baby.
Oh my.
Bernice was 9 years old when I was born. But anyway, she got over it. I think I finally got over her jealousy. But anyway, I was going to tell you about Mother and Daddy when they were at the laundry. And in Mangum there was this hospital, and Daddy got the job, I guess you would call it, of doing the uniforms for the nurses from the hospital. And back then the nurses wore white uniforms, white cap, white stockings, and white shoes. And those uniforms were so stiff, when Mother got through ironing them, she could just stand it up like this, and it would just stand up by itself. That's how much starch it had in it. And man, them uniforms would be so white, it'd hurt your eyes to look at them. And but anyway, Daddy he did the washing, and in the wintertime when it was too cold to put stuff out on the clothesline, one of the bedrooms that Mom and Dad, I guess Mother and Daddy slept in there, he would close off all the doors, and then he had a heater that he would put in there, and the steam would, and you'd go in there and it'd take you like going in a steam bath. And I used to like to go in there just for the funnies of it, you know. Oh, your grandmother was a character, I'll tell you for sure. But anyway, I can't think of anything else that would be
okay.
Interesting.
Well, sound like you were an interesting little kid.
Yeah, I guess you would say that.
So, high school, did you attend elementary and
Well, I went to elementary school in Mangum, and then we came, there's somebody at the door, John, and we came to Oklahoma City.
One second. Oops.
We came to Oklahoma City, and I went to high school. He could get out. I went to high school, and but in the 10th grade, I had to have a goiter removed off my neck, and I never did go back.
What was the?
I didn't want to go back.
No, what happened?
A goiter. I had a goiter. It looked like a rubber band,
mm-hmm.
and mine was wrapped around my vocal cords, and so I had to have it removed. And so I just never did go back to school. Mother didn't force it, but so I went to work at the laundry. Did that.
Was it that big of a deal back then, that not finishing high school? I mean...
Well, actually, Ryan, I should have finished high school. I'll have to be honest with you, I don't think I missed it. I didn't miss it. I can read and write and add pretty good, and I can spell, and
So what did you do after?
Well,
wait, first I have to ask this. Do you remember any boyfriends or any?
No, I didn't. No, I was working at this one little cafe that was right down the street from us, and this young man used to come in. Oh, he was a good-looking son of a gun, and I kind of had a crush on him. but it never developed to anything, you know. I think he wrote me a couple of letters, but that was about it.
And that's it?
That was about it.
Now, Grandma, I'm not just saying this, but I mean, I look at pictures of you, and you're a very, very pretty young lady.
Well, I wasn't interested in the boys.
What do you mean?
Well, I just, they, you know, I just didn't, you know, they didn't pay attention to me, so I, you know, big deal. I had my little brother. We played Cowboys and Indians up till I was 15 years old.
Okay.
But now I can tell you about your grandpa.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right.
But so after high school, you went to work.
Yeah, I just went to work. Like I said, I worked at that little cafe for a while. I don't know what happened there, but anyway. And then there was a cafe across the street from where we live called Denton's Cafe, and I worked there for a while. And then that fell through, so then I went to work at the laundry where Mother worked until I got married. I worked there. So.
Any memories from there? Miss anything up? Any
Loose ends?
What? Well, not loose. No, I meant like anything like on I Love Lucy. Mess anything up in the laundry?
Oh no. I worked on a machine. It was shirts, and we had, let's see, there was 3 of us that worked this machine. One would put do the collar and the cuffs, and then I would put it on the sleever, and then take it off and do the back and the front, and then button it up. And I did that, like I said, and I worked there for a while after John and I got married, up until I got pregnant, and then I quit and everything.
So what kind of wage were you getting doing that? I mean, it's interesting if you remember.
Oh goodness, very little.
How much?
Very little.
How much did people pay for you guys to do those things to their shirts like that?
Well, we got paid by the week.
So you did things for people.
Well, this was a laundry. What?
Who was the guy, the family that lived right across the street from the church on he was a Sunday school director part of the time. What was that?
Vans?
No, this woman's got Alzheimer's now.
Oh, Wanda Spring.
Spring.
Yeah. No, honey, we got paid by the week, and I'm not sure. It wasn't very much. I think I made about $21 a week, maybe if that much.
Do you remember? Do you remember though, like what the laundry charged people?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
No, I sure don't.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I do remember that. I bought myself a bicycle. I'd never had a bicycle.
How old were you?
About 15, 16, something like that. And I bought myself a bicycle and paid for that out of my wages. And then I like I said, I was so crazy about Mother. And Connie Legg in Fort Smith, she now has this set of dishes. But I bought Mother a set of dishes. Real fancy at that time set of dishes. And the funny part about it, I didn't have those dishes paid off when we got married. John had to finish paying the dishes because I had put them in layaway.
How much they were? Or?
I think it was maybe about $50 for the set, something like that. It really wasn't. At the time, it was a lot, but according to today, it wouldn't be. But I gave the dishes to Bernice when Mother died, or let her have them. And then Connie got them after Bernice died. But they were just a real nice set of dishes, full set of dishes. And I was thinking I got her some silverware, but I don't remember. I can't remember if I did or not. But I do remember the dishes, and I do remember me buying that bicycle. I was so proud of that bicycle. Yeah. And it was a boy's bicycle at that. I didn't like girls' bicycles. I wanted a boy's bicycle.
So were you a tomboy growing up?
A lot, yeah. 'Cause I have a friend. I was talking about this to somebody the other day. I have a friend that lives in, I think we were talking about this she calls me from Alaska about once a year. Sometimes she'll call twice a year, but anyway. But we were friends in Mangum. and she lived. Her parents and her lived kind of on the outskirts of town anyway. And in back of where she lived was, this great big wide open space. I don't think it's there anymore. I think they built something there. Anyway, and I'd go down to see her, and she and I would go out there, and we'd play cowboys and Indians. And we'd be either Roy Rogers, Baby Gene Autry, whatever. And out there was this great big culvert, I guess you'd call it. And across this thing was this great big wide pipe about like this. Across, and it was pretty far across. And we'd get on that thing and scoot across to the other side. I tell you, I don't know what caused us from getting in trouble. And we'd go to the movies, and I had this plastic round thing about like this. It had a lid on it, and it had a slit in it. And you could put powder in there and do it like this, the powder would come out. And we'd go to the movies, and we'd squirt the back of people's men and women, and we got caught one day and got thrown out of the theater.
So you just squirt powder?
We just squirt, yeah, we take it and squirt it like this, the powder to squirt out. And we'd go to, one time we went to a revival, Pentecostal revival, outdoor Pentecostal, and we squirted people.
What kind of powder was it?
It's just face powder, regular face powder. Oh yeah, that was one of my.
So you were a rough little kid, huh?
Well, I wasn't mean.
No.
Just mischievous. Now, really, I was mischievous. I really was.
Like every other
But
kid.
I'll have to say this. I had fun when I was growing up, and I have said this many, many times. If the Lord would come back down to earth right today, and He would say, "Mary, would you like to live your life again?" I'd say yes. The only thing I would change, I think I would accept Christ earlier than what I did, because I'll tell you this.
Tell me all about it, because this is
Okay,
nothing we want to know. We
This,
want to know about
this across the street from where we lived in Mangum was this church, and it was called Central Christian Church. And they had a basement, and you could go down here, and they, for some reason or other, they'd never close this basement door. So I would go in that basement door, and I'd play in this church. I love playing in this church. A church, to me, has a smell, especially if there's nobody in it, and it's been closed up, and you first go in. I don't know. It just has a sweet, peaceful smell to it. And I went to Sunday school there. In fact, Shirley's got my cradle roll. That mother enrolled me at the cradle roll. How I don't remember my mother going to church with me, and I don't remember her taking me, but I was enrolled in this cradle roll at this Christian church. And so on Sunday mornings, I'd go to Sunday school, and then I'd stay for church. And back then, women would talk to people, and I can remember every Sunday morning, just about when that invitation would come around, I'd stand there and I'd hold on, just don't talk to me, please don't talk to me, please don't talk to me, please don't. And I think the Lord was talking to me way back then, and I just didn't realize, But I don't talk, please don't talk to me, please. Because they'd just go down and talk, they don't do that anymore.
the women would do.
Talk to the children, and everything, and I guess try to get them to accept Christ, But women, they don't do that anymore,
This was what kind of church?
Central Christian Church, and but I had there were some beautiful, beautiful ladies that taught there. One lady, especially, her name was Mrs. Alley, and she was also a school teacher. And she was just the sweetest thing. She was very precious. I always thought a lot of Mrs. Alley.
So tell me about the time, give me the age and all this stuff like that, if you remember, that you did finally accept Christ.
When I finally did, it was in the fall of 1954. Michael was born in May of 54, and it was the fall of 54, and it was the Capital Baptist Church. and I don't know if it's there anymore or not. But I don't know. The Lord was talking to me, and so I went down. But now it took me a while to be baptized. And I'd go to some of the meetings. The women would have WMU meetings, and I'd go there. And the preacher's wife, she had passed me. She said, "Well, Mary, when you gonna be baptized?" "Oh, one of these days." I didn't understand it, and I wasn't about to do it until I understood what it was all about. But I finally, said okay. And mainly, I think I was scared of water. I don't like anything above my waist, and I was just scared of going, And but I did, and I'll never. John doesn't remember this, but I came home that night from church, and I don't think I took any of the kids with me that evening. I don't think I did. And the first thing he said to me, he said, "Well, do you feel any different?" See, he wasn't saved at that time. And I really didn't know how to answer him. I don't even remember what I said to him, but I remember that. "Well, do you feel any different?" But anyway,
So then, how did your spiritual walk with Jesus? Did that impact Grandpa?
I don't think it did until we moved out here. And what got your grandfather started to going to church was, of course, I'd get up, I'd get dressed, I'd get the boys ready, get the girls ready. And at that time, I don't remember if I drove or not. But anyway, and one Sunday morning, it was either Brian or Michael, and I think John said it was Brian. And he said, "Well, why should I go to church? Dad don't go to church." And that's what got him started church. He said, he thought, well, I guess I better get myself. But it was a while. He was saved. John was saved in 1964. And when he was saved, he wasn't no straddling the fence. It was all the way, tithing and everything. And he was making about $30 a week at that time, and we tithed. And but you know what? We made it. We made it. No problem whatsoever. We've tithed. And then when I went to work, I tithed. And even when I was doing laundries or ironings here at the house, I would tithe whatever little bit I would have, And I think we've been blessed from it. I think the Lord has blessed us plenty. We've got 4 kids, 2 son-in-laws, 2 daughter-in-laws. And I can't remember, I think it's how many grandsons? You, Jonathan, Stephen, James, and Benjamin. Got 5 grandsons and 6 granddaughters, and then a mucho great-grandkids. So I think we've been blessed. We bought this house we moved in 1956. Yeah. I think it was about March of 1956 we moved in. And we had to John had to make a house payment out of that $30 a month, $30 a week that he was making. And food, clothing, lights, gas, water, bills, and 4 kids to support.
So did God take care of you guys?
He sure did. Even before John was ever saved, he sure did. Yes.
Tell me about something you would say to me, you might say to anyone listening or to our family. Our roots are rooted in 2 people that at some point in their life loved God and taught their children to love God. Tell me about what that really means to you and what you think.
Oh, honey. Words can't express what that means to me. I think out of all of them, I think there's only one that right now is astray, and that would be John David. But oh goodness, that means the world to me, and I know it does to John. Yes, I can't think of now. We might not. Now I know that we don't always agree with. How do I want to put this? John and I are old fashioned. Let me put it this way. We just believe in the standard music of church and standard preaching and everything. But that doesn't that still our children and our grandkids, they are steeped in their beliefs and in their churches. And that means the world and all to me. Two people that I am concerned about is my mother and father. Now Connie Lee claims that one time when she was over here, this was when Connie was a good girl and going to church like she should, and she talked to Daddy, and she claims that she has no doubt about Daddy. And Mother says that he used to, before he would eat, he would pray. So now Mother, I don't know. I just, because we had one preacher that came out here one day, and he, especially to talk to Mother, and she came back here, and this Dan closed the door and wouldn't come out. She wouldn't come out, and she just called me, oh, you're just an old hard-shell Baptist. I said, now Mother, being a Baptist has nothing to do with it. In the Bible it says, if you will believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and accept Him as your Savior, ye shall be saved. And I just never could get through to her with that. Now Sharon Thornton told me years ago that she used to visit with them, and she was visiting them. And they claimed that they sat down and had a real long talk with her, and that they didn't have any doubts about her salvation. But as long as she was living with us, she never showed it. I don't know. I don't know. So that's the only regret I have, is that.
If, right now, if you could just say something in regards to, what would be something you would say to everybody in the family in regards to the strength and the comfort that comes from following Jesus? What is it that you would say?
Well, just to rely on Him, and I don't always pray like I should, but prayers are strengthening. They strengthen your faith, and some of the things that I'm attached to, I shouldn't be. I mean, I'm a movie buff, and records and things like this. But I don't think that has interferes with what I feel from the Lord, and it's kind of hard to put in words. Because as I've said before, all of you guys are already. I know Sherry and her family are all strong in their beliefs and in their churches, and I know that Robin and Brian and you guys are, and everything, and so, and the comfort that I have is that if the Lord takes John before me, I know where he's going. I know that he's going to go to heaven, as much as I would miss him. Now, I worry about Robin, Mike and Dana. Because I don't think at this time that they're really going to church. I really don't think so. Michael's got such a way. Tell you the truth, I don't know what he believes. If you know the truth, I really don't. But he's strong in what he believes, though. I'll say that. you know. I,
Is there anything else you want to say about that topic, just with following Jesus in life and?
yeah, yes, and just when things get rough and the going gets tough, just do a lot of praying, and it has. Well, in fact, I can give you a little example with that. This was back when I was ironing for people. John worked for the telephone company, and they had gone out on strike. And your grandpa's a strong union man. He believes in unions. So he couldn't work because he wouldn't cross the line. Well, he had gone to this one place where you could go and get odd jobs for a day, you know, and everything. And I hadn't had any earnings in, oh goodness, seemed like ages since any of my customers would bring me any earnings. But got up that Monday morning and the earnings started coming in. And with that and with what he brought in, we made it. We met our obligations. Now, when it came to making out a grocery list, we had to cut back on luxuries like paper towels, paper napkins, non-essential, I would say, you know. But it didn't hurt us any. We didn't miss it. And with what I made and with what Grandpa did, we made it. We got through and everything. And Sherry and Gwen, now Mike and, well, this has nothing to do with me, with what we're talking about.
Okay.
But I sewed for the girls. They didn't have the luxury of having bought dresses and things like that, like most young girls. And I made most of their dresses. Now Mike and Brian, they were so skinny that we had to go to Langston's. Carried a Feero, you remember the Feero jeans? Okay. And they carried the Feero jeans in the slim sizes. So we had to buy their jeans there and everything. But I sewed for the girls most of their clothes. Not everything, but most of them. I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed doing that sewing. That, like I said, that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Getting back to that. I don't think there's anything I could add to it, sweetheart. I really don't. I just, I wonder, because I look back on the surgeries and things that Grandpa's gone through, and I don't know how anybody could go through that without leaning on the Lord. Because he's without your Christian friends, the church, you know, your Christian church people, church family, I'm going to say. And so that's been a comfort. It's like I said, and it just makes me feel good and proud to know that our family, I should say, is steeped in the Lord, steeped in Christianity. It's just because I know I can remember back I'm sorry, how was I gonna word this? Oh, one Sunday morning we got ready to go to church, and I guess this is when Michael's in the service, and I guess the girls were married because Brian must have been the only one here. And he came out of, this was his room, and he had a great big hole across one of his knees in his pants. And John looked at him and says, "Go back there and get on a decent pair of jeans." He said, "Now, what you wear after you leave here, I don't care. Or something to this effect, but you go put on decent jeans. And he had changed his jeans because his daddy wouldn't let him wear that pair of jeans to church. And another rule in the house was you went to church on Sunday mornings and Sunday nights. Now Wednesday nights wasn't a you could go if you wanted to, but it wasn't a rule. But Sunday mornings and Sunday nights you went to church. Except unless you were sick, of course, you know. And and I can tell you something about your daddy that was really sad. I can't remember if this was before John was going or not. But anyway, he had got stung by a bee. And he's very allergic to bee stings. And so we went on to church. And during that church, bless his little heart, he just started burning up with fever from that bee sting. And all I remember was that we went to church and he was stung and he was burning with fever, and I think I brought him home or something. But anyway, if you weren't sick, you went to church. And my Gwenny Pooh, I could tell you 100 stories about my Gwenny Pooh.
Then tell us some.
Well, she was my problem child, so to speak. I used to get so frustrated with that child, but she was so sweet. But she would get mad at me about something, and this would be in the summertime. And out in the back, before Grandpa built his shop, he had this tree, and that was her tree. And she'd get mad at me, and she'd go out that back door and slam that door and get up in that tree and start pulling them leaves. Just a telling it. I mean, you know, she just was telling everybody up, pulling them leaves off that tree. She was a sight, I tell you what. She was something else. But she was my little imp, I guess you would say. One time, she aggravated me, so I don't even remember what it was about. And John had these slat in the window. I guess it was what you stirred paint with or something, and it was in the window. And I used to use it for a whipping stick. I didn't whip my kids very much, but one day she made me so mad, aggravated, and I got that, and I started hitting on that child, and I got scared, and I threw that thing down, and I said, I'll never whip you again, because if I'm afraid, I told myself I'm never going to whip her because I'm afraid I'll hurt her if I do. And I never spanked her again. I never spanked her again because I was scared. I got so mad and so irritated that I wasn't spanking her for what she had done. I was spanking her because I was mad. And I was afraid I'd hurt her. So, now have you heard the story about the tape over the mouths? Okay. One day, it was I guess this was summertime. I wasn't work. I hadn't work. I wasn't at work. I hadn't gone to work yet at this time. So they had played outside, and it just seemed to me like every time I turned around, they were into it about something. So I brought them in. I sat them down on the couch, got me some tape, and I taped up their mouths. Every one of them, made them sit there like this. And they were sitting there trying to laugh. And their daddy come home and saw that. And he started laughing. Started yanking tape off them.
Did it work?
Well, no, not really. But it made me feel good at the time. And at least it kept them quiet for a while.
But Grandpa took the tape off?
Yeah, we've laughed about that a minute. But they had just aggravated me to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore.
So that they were just sitting there giggling?
Yeah, they just kind of giggling to themselves, you know. Mother taped our mouth shut. Oh, shoot.
Well, tell me about Aunt Sherry.
Well, She was my good kid. She really was. Well, all of them were good. That none of them, but she was the leader of the bunch, more or less. If they were outside playing, she was the one that thought up things to do or whatever. And Michael was my worrier. Worried. Anyway, how you pronounce that? He's one worried about everything. We'd go over to Mother's and Daddy's or whatever, and we'd start getting ready to go home. And he had like a little mother hen, had to gather everybody up, make sure they were ready to go. Oh, yeah. And your daddy, oh, he's a mess.
More of a mess than Aunt Gwen?
Yeah, they were about equal to each other.
That's why they get along, huh?
They didn't get along as kids, but But one time he and another friend. There was a man that lived over here on the next street over. I can't remember, Vaughn. His last name was Vaughn. And they took his mail out of his mailbox. I guess they were going to play a trick on him or something. Well, Grandpa found out about it. So when Brian got home, he took him in that middle bedroom, closed the door, and he made him bend, and he whipped him. Brian never shed a tear. Grandpa gave him a pretty good whipping because he needed to, because he was messing with federal stuff, and that could get you in bad trouble. But Brian never, he never shedded a tear. I don't know. Mess.
So did Grandpa do anything, or
No, just that, And another time, he was either in school or at work or something. I don't know which. Anyway, I was cleaning up his room, making up his bed, in the closet for something, and I found these girly magazines. I went all to pieces. John, I found these magazines in Brian's room. He said, Mary, take them and lay them all out on the bed, and I'll talk to Brian when I get home. So when Brian got home, here his magazines were laid out on the bed. So when John came home, he talked to him, and Brian said, well, they're not mine. The magazines disappeared. I don't know where they went. I don't know if they went in the trash or what. But anyway, the magazines did, and none ever came back again. Oh, dear. I don't know. I don't know how the kids put up with me, though, to tell you the truth. I really don't. I really don't. I just...
What do you mean?
Well, I just don't feel like I was a good mother. I really don't. I had problems in my younger years. There wasn't mental problems, but yet they were. I would start crying at the least little thing. And I'd get upset about the least little thing. I'd get mad about the least little thing. And one time I can remember, I went back in our bedroom, back behind the divan, and I just started crying, and I was just yelling, crying. And, that had to upset children, having a mother practically going out of her mind, And I felt like, in a way, I was too strict with them, and really didn't show my affection like I should have, But I loved every one of them, I tell you. And they've turned out good. Every one of them have turned out real. I'm proud of every one of them. Like I said, I kind of worry about Mike, but the Lord knows, so He'll take care of him, I hope. pray that he does. But anyway. But you sure you don't want me to talk about me and Grandpa?
Yeah, no, I do. I do.
Now?